Hey, welcome to Mac Music Tech. Today I want to cover colorization in Logic. It's not just about aesthetics. There are some really useful things that can happen by doing some basic color things within Logic. If you're used to playing with a mixer, what you've noticed, and I have a basic template set up here that has some things that I would normally use in a session. Logic defines its own specific colors based on types of track. So you'll notice here that I've got a drummer track. Logic is automatically assigned to kind of a bright lemon yellow. MIDI tracks are assigned to green. Audio tracks are assigned to blue. At a certain level, that is useful. But at a certain level, it's not. I don't really care if my bass track is MIDI or audio. What I want to know is it's a bass track, and I want my eye to gravitate towards it quickly. So when I look at that particular track, if I right-click or control-click on it on the Mac, I can assign a channel strip color, and I'll get a little template of colors. For me, bass is purple. It may be a different color for you. That is not the point. But by assigning that color, and having it right there next to the drums, I can immediately gravitate towards that being the bass track. There's a certain level of functionality that is quickly done because my eyes gravitate towards certain sections. Now, I have a template that I generally work through that I'm going to switch over to that gives me kind of a color coding that I would normally use. When I look at this template, these colors and the structure may not make sense to you. That's not the point. Like I said, we will cover templates at a certain point because they are incredibly useful and they will speed up your workflow. But I want to talk about just the basics of coloring today. So when I look at my mixer, you can see that I've broken this into slightly different colors than I had in the other session. I've given up. I'm going to let Logic pick the basic colors of this. So I've stuck with yellow for drums, but you'll also notice that I've broken this into a multi-channel and I've split it out into a separate kick and snare. I've left all of those yellow. I've given bass that purple color that I prefer, piano a light blue color. The rest of my keyboards I've lumped into orange. I'm going to record more vocals from an audio standpoint than anything else, so I'm going to leave those blue so I don't have to mess with them much. But my acoustic guitar and electric guitar, if I record them audio-wise, I've assigned a red color to them. Even just looking at this, you can see that your eye gravitates toward these sections and chunks a little better than if these were all the same colors. There's some power to that. You will also notice that it breaks those colors into those same chunks in the arrange window. So when I have something that's recorded, I see yellow for drums, purple for bass, blue for piano. And if I wanted to add a B3 part to this, watch what happens as I record something new. It is automatically assigned that B3 part, as brilliantly as I've played it, an orange color, so it is quickly easy to delineate in both the arrange window and the mixer window that is a new track. I'm going to delete that for now, but I want to show you why that's powerful. You probably heard the second chord on this doesn't quite line up correctly. Something is not gelling between the bass part and the piano part. Let's dive in there and see if we can figure out what it is. Default in Logic, if I double click on a track, is to open up the piano roll editor. There's my bass part. Okay, that's interesting. I can kind of see what's going on. Let's look at the piano part. Okay, interesting. Interestingly, while I can click on any of these and listen to the notes, I can see the piano keyboard on the left-hand side and tell that I've gone from an E minor to a D major. Referencing them together is not terribly easy. Logic has a powerful function, however. Within the piano roll editor, I can choose more than one track. So I'm going to choose both bass and piano, click on the little scissor keys to go into an edit mode, and I can see all of my tracks individually within that piano roll editor. Now, the problem is, just looking at this, which is which? It's a challenge to tell. One of the powerful things about color is what I can look at within individual windows. If I use my drop-down menu within the piano roll editor and choose View, one of my choices here is Set Note Color. Logic's default is velocity. The louder something is, the closer to red it's going to get, but I'm going to change this because what I think is much more useful is to set this by region color. Because what you'll see now is the light blue from my piano track that I've dictated and the purple for the bass are now showing up in this piano roll edit. So if I want to line things up individually or reference individual things, I can move things in reference to each other. You can see I haven't quantized this piano track. One of my options would be just to select everything and quantize it to eighth notes. May not be what I want to do. I may lose the groove by doing that. But the cool part is I can see where these things line up. And what I can also see is that this downbeat and that this upbeat on beat 3 aren't really quite where I want them to land. My bass part anticipates coming into 3. It gets to that G chord before the piano part does. Let's just move my piano part to match the bass part there with an anticipation into measure 3. It may be better, it may be worse, but the interesting thing is that slight touch of color makes it much simpler for me to see these individual things, make edits based on the tracks across each other, and make movements based on the reference between those tracks. The grid is not always right. However, instruments landing at the same time make a significant feel difference, whether they're right or not. Sometimes late, as we see on these piano beats, is better than on time. Being able to see both and individually discriminate them based on color is a really powerful editing feature. If I've set my template up, everything I record will have those colors broken down individually, make it much easier to see what's going on. If these kind of basic things are useful to you, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click subscribe on the blog. I'm going to continue to bring these to it. Those little things really help me to know and see what is useful. So thanks for coming by. Hope to see you soon back at Mac Music Tech. Have a great holiday season if I don't see you before then.